So today, I want to delve back into the upcoming Disney Animated Studios film, Wish, and talk a little bit about a theory that I've had that's sort of been swirling around in my mind for the last little while. And that theory is about Ahsa's ultimate fate at the end of or after the movie. A theory about what her character might go on to do afterwards. And yeah, if you've read the title or seen the thumbnail, I think it's pretty obvious that I think she's going to end up being the Blue Fairy. So yeah, I guess I'd better explain. So Wish is being made as a celebration of all things Disney animation in the honour of the 100th anniversary of the company. And a big part of the story that's been revealed so far is that it's serving as a bit of a prequel or origin story to the concept of the wishing star. You know, the wishing star. The one from the classic Disney intro. And the one from Pinocchio and Peter Pan, Lady and the Tramp, The Princess and the Frog. It's a massive part of Disney canon that crops up numerous times across the shared universe, and this film aims to provide an origin story for all of that, to tie up that element of the lore, and to really harken back to a bygone era of Disney filmmaking. And yeah, to be honest, I'm pretty hyped for the film, I gotta say. Even though it's quite unclear as to what is actually gonna happen. Like, there's a couple things that we do know. For starters, the main character, Ahsa, she's the hero. Ooh, well, surprise, surprise. The main character's the hero. Honestly, that was a bit of a dumb thing to say. But yeah, she's the hero. We have a goat sidekick who gets the power of speech from a sentient star that falls from the sky. And then we have our main villain, Magnifico. King Magnifico, the ruler of the Kingdom of Roses. And according to the plot synopsis, he's in charge of making the wishes of the world come true. He collects all the wishes from people around the world, and honestly, I don't know how he does it, but I would assume that he finds fallen stars, he's going to harvest them for their power, and he's going to use it to grant wishes and make himself the most important and powerful person in the world. After all, he's the villain. You need to have a reason for him to be villainous, some action that makes him kind of suck, and I feel like this is the direction they're going to be taking his character. It's not a certainty, but I think it makes a lot of sense. Because then you have to combine that with the idea that he needs some sort of conflict with our heroes. He needs a reason to antagonize Ahsa and the goat, and so what better way to do that than to try to capture the little wishing star that they've just befriended, trying to capture him so he can in turn consume him, using his magic and his energy to continue his monopoly on wishes. So yeah, that's how I think the story is going to play out in the broad strokes. And of course, in the end, it's going to result in Magnifico getting his ass handed to him by the heroes, and losing his powers altogether. And considering Disney's track record with villains, he'll either spend eternity suffering as a result of a wish gone wrong, or he'll just be straight up dead by the end of the story. You know, there's actually very little divergence from that trope now I think about it. Villains always end up dead, don't they? I mean, I guess Hans gets off relatively lightly from Frozen. I think he just gets sent away, right, into exile? Or does he drown in the water after getting knocked out? It doesn't really matter. All that does matter is that Magnifico is quite obviously going to be vanquished by the end of the film. Imagine that. And Ahsa, the goat, and the wishing star are going to live happily ever after. And of course, this means that nobody there is going to be there collecting the wishes. And presumably, there's nobody granting them as well. This means that the wishing star is going to regain its importance, or take Magnifico's importance, something like that. But this is all just stuff we know, or stuff we can extrapolate from the actual plot and character synopses that we have our hands on. This isn't new information. And so, we need to keep pushing to really start to prove our theory. Our theory that Ahsa is going to end this film filling in the role of the Blue Fairy. Okay, so the first element of this, like I said, is a need to replace our villain. Currently, as of the start of the film, Magnifico seems to be filling the Blue Fairy role. A twisted and demented version of that role perhaps, but still filling it nonetheless. And of course, since our little star doesn't seem to be able to speak, and grants wishes by sprinkling fairy dust like we saw in the trailer, you'd assume that somebody probably needs to channel the dust to grant wishes properly, and at a distance, since stars live in the sky. Therefore, well, you kind of need a character to replace the king. And since the only other character that we really know is Ahsa, well, feels like she's the prime candidate then, right? And I mean, I'm pretty sure some of the meanings of her name are desire, wish, hope, and what do you know? These are attributes intrinsically linked to the concept of the Blue Fairy, who grants wishes to fulfill your desires and your hopes. And we see this explicitly done in Pinocchio, and you can probably assume that whenever another character wishes on a star, the wishing star, the evening star, whatever they go for that particular movie, it's probably the magic of that fairy doing it once more. After all, it wasn't the star itself that granted the wish in Pinocchio, it was the Blue Fairy, using what you would assume is the magic of the star. At least, if this new law is anything to go off, that's what I'd suspect. So since we need a conduit for the power of the star to be channeled, you would assume that that conduit is going to be the person with the thematic name. But how do you get to that point? Well, after Magnifico bites the dust, I think it becomes clear pretty quickly that no new wishes are being granted at all. And things are likely going to go to shit. Hell, maybe the already wished wishes start to reverse themselves? That feels adequately sad. And then of course there's that realization. Ahsa realizes that since she caused this, even if it was necessary, she needs to fix it. And so she replaces Magnifico, but this time she uses the power of the star in a sustainable and a good way. And thus she ascends as the new ruler of the kingdom perhaps, and in time, you know how these things go, they do one of those things where they explain that over the years she got old and then she ascended as the Blue Fairy, she became a myth, a legend, all that kind of stuff. Ties back into the early days of the company, provides a great celebratory storyline, and gives an origin to an iconic character. Yeah, I just think it would be really cool. But that's really all we can say at present. That thematically, I think it fits the story that they seem to want to tell, and I think it fits in really well as a centenary celebration. But you can't really give much more evidence than that, simply because we don't really know anything else. Just pictures, just some clips. Although, I do have some very silly tinfoil evidence if you want to indulge me. Although the evidence is pretty damn weak if I say so myself. But yeah, Cinderella, her original dress is pink, but then when she gets powered up by the fairy godmother, who's also wearing bluish hues, I might add, she gets a nice new blue dress. Aurora, aka Sleeping Beauty, constantly alternates between a pink dress and a blue dress, depending on what the fairies want. Ahsa has a pinkish dress, and her story seems like it could be linked to fairies and wishes and magical things like that. So all you need is that transformation to a blue dress. Oh, I know, right? I know. Truly groundbreaking stuff. But yeah, I still think I'm on the money about the theory. It's an early call, but we'll have to wait and see. And so yeah, nothing much else to say. And so I think we'll call the video here. So with all that being said, I'll just remind you that these were just my opinions and I'd like to hear yours. What do you think of the theory? You like it, hate it, you agree with it, maybe not? Do you have any alternate theories? I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know.